welcome to my channel. My name's Lizzie. I'm not very high vibe to do readings right now, but I still want to give you something, and I'm really kicking off this Halloween month soon, and I'm starting this Halloween story series. So very briefly, if you just want to cut to the story and you don't want to know what cards I'm using or how I set it all up, go to the description box below now. I'll give you the timestamp for when the story starts, and you can jump right to the story and skip all the fuss if you'd like. Please remember to give me a thumbs up below, as it does help me grow. Perhaps we know what you're liking and responding to. Making these stories up on the fly, so please let me know which ones are your favorite. If you like this, if you like my vibes, please hit the subscribe. I'd love to have you. Other than that, let's get right into it. We're not wasting any time. I like to be comfortable in my creative space, so I'm in my PJs doing laundry. So, what are we using to tell this story? I am using the Millennial Tarot. I'm infusing stuff that I'm making by myself to tell a story, and traditional tarot and oracle cards, so I'll be playing with different stuff every time. But this is going to tell me like somebody's, who the characters are personality wise. Also in the same aspect of, for the cards that I made, I have male and female descriptions of people based on real people and characters. Like, for example, we have Julia Child and Tallahassee from Zombieland. So this is going to, again, give me some characteristics about the characters, give me something to go off about their personality, mental state, stuff like that. And I'm using the animal spirit to talk a little bit more about personalities, how they might be feeling in the storyline, how they come across to others. And at the very end, we're doing a fortune cookie tarot. This has, every color is something different. Like, the blue ones are male descriptions. Again, pink is female descriptions. I think yellow is like plot twists, and like blue is jobs, I think, and green is like, you know, I forget what they all are. I like have a cheat sheet somewhere, but basically it's going to help me tell a story. So let's get into it. Find out how many characters are going to come through here. It's like me and Spirit collaborating to create a spooky story. Again, these stories are for adults, not children. So just FYI. Some of them will be more like fantasy, like vampire, werewolf type of stuff. Some of them will be like scary home burglars. Like, it's not all going to be the same stuff every time. So keep checking them out. I haven't got an official title because I'm not officially starting this series until October 1st. But it's right around the corner, and I want to I know I did one, but it was too long, and okay, that seems pretty good. So I'm going to tell you what I get so you can kind of try to make some sense about my process. Hold on, I'm going to move stuff around so I have a little bit of room. I'm going to pause. Alright, had to go a little cockeyed to get some room. But at least you can see my shelf now. So I have the Ghoster, which is the moon card. Then we have the Fireballer and Insta-Famous. So the story is already getting juicy to me. And then we have Brunch. I'm sorry, this is the World card. This is the Sun card. And this is the Emperor. And like I said, this is the Moon card in traditional tarot. I'm going to tell you what I'm getting off the top of the head. Whether it's sticking with the story or not, who knows? It changes as I go. Like I said, I'm making the story up as I'm telling it. There's no prep work other than these cards and these, you know, it's all pop fly. I'm trying to show you my creative, new age way of telling stories. People don't really like books anymore. I'm trying to be ahead of the curve by going old school. So technically it's not like something new. I'm just hashtag bringing it back. So do this around campfires with my friends and family. So for me, the Moon, the Ghoster, is definitely going to be that rebel, biker, bad boy, I mean, you gotta have one in a scary story, right? Doesn't necessarily mean they're the bad guy, though. Fireballer to me is like that typical jock, party boy, rich boy. I'm already feeling the social greaser, like from the outsider vibes. Hashtag read that book. It's a good book. So I'm getting like grease and social type of vibes. If you don't know that book, a greaser is like someone who's poor, and social is like the elite, go to the prep schools. I'm getting those vibes as it is. And then of course we have to have a girl conflict in the middle here with this Insta famous. This could be like a sex tape scandal. This could be like the popular girl secretly hooking up with the weird kid to kill the jock that's been doing her dirty. Like, I really don't know where this is going, but we got 3 solid characters. We got a female, we got 2 males, and the brunch, to me, I feel like this is going to be the center. Like, this is an event. Something that makes this whole story kick off. Like, I'm kind of getting, like, the game of Clue. Like, who's the murderer? Everybody who is at this brunch, somebody at the brunch is the murderer type of vibes. We'll see where this goes. Alright, let's get some animal spirit tarot. So, kind of oh my god, my cat is like emotionally distressed still and I don't know what to do. We're trying. She was a rescue. It's like she's walking around looking for something, but I can't figure out what she's looking for. Or she just is a vocal cat. I'm not really sure. But it goes in spurts. Like, she'll do it for 20 minutes and then you don't hear nothing for the rest of the night. It's always when I'm filming and I'm really sorry. She really doesn't do this all day. Maybe she's talking to you. Alright, so this is brunch. I don't know, I'm not feeling right about this. Can I just start over? Yes, great. They were falling wrong. So I'm going to clarify. Let's start with the ghoster. I want to be specific on where these go. The ghoster. We got 2 for the ghoster. Horse and the unicorn. So this could be like a warlock, witch, someone very spiritual, very special. Could be a vampire. I'm suddenly getting vampire vibes from all of this. Or like an alien, Men in Black type of shit. Something. Alright, let's see what this Insta-famous chick is about in our story. We got 2 for her too. So we got beaver and mouse. I feel like this is the secret mastermind of something. Because you have Beaver, who's a hard worker, building that, layering the foundation. She could be playing these 2 men, you know. It could be like a Gone Girl situation. If I feel like a mastermind or hard at work or something, they could be working on their career, too. It could be that. Like, and we have Mouse, to me, is, again, very hardworking. But it's also feeling like wanting to be a big fish, but you're a small fish in a big pond. But something, they could be being sneaky on how they become Insta-famous. I feel like, I don't know, there's some scandal with this chick and we'll figure it out. Let's talk about this fireballer. Ooh, the rabbit. So yeah. Horny, just about sex, like fuckboy energy, getting like douche vibes, and bear, but very protective of their family. So if this is like somebody being blackmailed, they're going to do what they need to do. This could be somebody who has like a secret club, like a secret sex club, organization, fight ring, anything like that. I'm getting all kinds of stuff. Let's talk about this brunch. How are people going to feel about this brunch? It's getting juicy. Ooh, the golden egg. So obviously, if you score an invite to this, like, you're it. Like, this is something that everybody wants to be at. This is also, to me, talking about, this is the center of the story about this brunch I need to be focusing on. This is where everything happens, or this is where the war is started and everything launches off from. I feel like if it was a movie, it's like gonna be coming back to a brunch from different characters' angles, like 3 days ago from the chick's, perspective. But you don't get her full tea because I feel like there's something sketchy. And then it's going to be like shoot back to 3 days ago and be this weird vampire guy's version of the day. And then it's going to shoot back and be this weird playboy, and you're going to get like snippets. But I feel like they're all kind of sketchy. I'm liking it because I feel like this is the kind of story where you're not really sure who the bad guy is. And I feel like they're all fucking with each other. This could be like a secret society war game, like frat sorority type of sketchy shit going on here. What's that movie where scared me? It's like they were going back to slave days and they put them in a trance. It was falling. Oh my god, what was that movie? Something like that. There's a secret society like that going on. Alright, let's get some female descriptions for this lady. A few more. Sleeping Beauty. Likes to sleep a lot. Procrastinating. Needs rest. Leo energy. That's funny because the sun is also the Leo card. Interesting, Spirit. Taking a time out. Don't see something coming. Pageants or beauty queen. Stalker vibes. Brings you back to life. First kiss or memorable kiss. Stalemate or a stagnant energy. So there's a lot going on here. I feel like either this girl doesn't see something coming. She could be the victim here. Or the Leo is the star of the story. That's twice. So I feel like the story is going to be centering around the Sleeping Beauty. I feel like everybody's enticed by this. Maybe they're kind of lazy a little bit, or they just don't see them as a mastermind. But I feel like this girl is. Let me get one more. One more. One more, Spirit. Thank you. Amelia Earhart. Unknown factors. Mechanical. Smart. Like I said. Disapproved. Oh, disappeared out of nowhere. Oh my god. That Sleeping Beauty she's missing. They're looking for the famous girl. The it girl. And these are the two suspects. There you have it. Celebrity. Classic white girl gone missing. Suspected dead, something horrible. I don't mean to be graphic, but I am the creator of the story. Oh, just kidding, but that's kind of what writers do. A little bit, I'm just being funny about it. Alright, let's get some details about these suspects. Let's go to the sketchy vampire guy. Garth Brooks. Unique voice, country boy singer. Okay, so I did feel the rock star, biker type of vibes. Doesn't swear, good manners, good to family and friends. Okay, obviously this is not going with my bad boy energy, so I feel like it's just this person has a good voice or they have a unique voice. They could be a celebrity. It could be another celebrity who knew the missing celebrity, or this could be the person that got this person famous. Maybe they have some kind of beef. Maybe that's their, if they're both musicians, they're under the same label and they were competing with each other and it turned deadly. I don't know. The press is spinning it in my mind. There's this, he killed it. He did it. She was beating him in the records and they had that argument on TV at the brunch. I don't know. Something stewing in there. The drama. One more for this guy. Garfield's. Heavier set, lazy, very sarcastic. Manipulates friends into doing things for them. Sleeps a lot, homebody. I think this is just a user manipulator. Maybe they have a gift about their voice. Maybe they are like a mystic person. Maybe they can like Jedi mind you, like, give me all your money out of your wallet, and you just do it. And he could have like said to this famous girl, like, go run away and don't come back because I need a drama or something. You know what I mean? We don't know where this story's going. Not even me. All right, let's talk about this other fuckboy energy. Total douche. I just like, this is going to be a guy that nobody likes, but is very honest about who they are. It's not like they try to hide the fact that they're like a rich, sexist, a little bit chauvinistic kind of dick. They don't really care. It's just kind of that product of environment they're from. They're young, like, they have a lot of growing up to do, this man. So, okay, came flying out. We have Columbus from Zombieland. Wow. Introvert, homebody, work from home. That's not at all what I'm getting. Nervous, sketchy around people, likes video games. May never have had a serious relationship. I don't feel like this person is a nerd or any of this. I feel like maybe the event, or she was last seen at a party at this person's house. Something about work from home. They could be like a promoter. Could be this person's manager. This lady's manager. Likes to make lists. Maybe he has a hit list. We have Ray Charles. Could be blind or always wears glasses. Musician. Womanizer. Could be an addict. Songwriter. Travels a lot. Okay. Sorry, musicians. But this is a murder mystery. Scary Halloween story for all my singers out there. Like, this is going to be the battle of who killed. Like, let me put it into perspective. Real live musicians. I feel like this is like Taylor Swift. Like America's Sweetheart. Like, oh my God, Taylor Swift went missing? Like, if Taylor Swift went missing, like, the world would lose their fucking shit. And I feel like that's kind of what's happening here. And this person, I feel like, clearly is more successful on the business side. I kind of feel like this is the manager, but still a fuckboy womanizer. Or this is like somebody that could have been riding her coattails. Like, maybe she appeared at this person's party, or there's some kind of controversy. They could have had a relationship. Maybe this is the asshole that was like blackmailing her because she's famous about a sex tape. You know what I mean? As far as look-wise, I feel like this is like a Matthew McConaughey type of guy. Like, hey. But like, not that Matthew McConaughey is like a dick like that, but I mean, like, got that face and that charm. Like, girls just like them, even though, like, I feel like people would still like that guy even if he was a dick. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, he's a dick, he's very blunt, and but he's not like, I mean, is it good to be too real? I feel like that's kind of one of those scenarios. You either love him or you hate him. You want to be him or you just want to kill him. I don't know. I feel like this guy's fucked up a little bit. Sorry, Matthew McConaughey. It's just, I'm stealing your looks, not your personality. And then over here, I feel like this is like a Jared Leto. Like, long hair. You know, type of musician. Like, totally different styles. If these are all singers, this is going to be like the pop. Ooh, hit me, baby, one more time. Let me show you my boobs. You know, total bubblegum shit. Then you have over here total emo rocker, like, and then over here total classic, maybe Southern boy, like, let's get this party started kind of shit. Or like a rapper, even somebody who's a baller. But here is this golden event. Maybe it's an award show. Maybe something goes down at an award show or like a music festival where they're all playing and there's beef between the three of them and the world is like, who done it? Who done it? Let's get some more and then we'll get into it a bit extra. I'm going through some shit and I'm using this to distract me and it's working. So, yay to that. Let's see. We got 4 male descriptions, which is nice because there's 5 male descriptions and 2 female descriptions. Let's start there because we're getting more deets. Attorney, judge, paralegal, law, anger management coach or mediator, painter, sculptor, photographer, artist. Oh, these are jobs. I'm sorry. What are this? Maybe I didn't do descriptions. I don't remember what these are, but we're doing jobs now, I guess. Construction, interior design, house flipping, or property. I'll place them where they fit. Doctor, dentist, nurse, hospice, health aide. Manager, CEO, CFO, business. That's what I feel like this guy is like. I don't know if this fireballer is the actual musician. I feel like this ghoster is a musician or this insta-famous girl is. The fireball definitely is the CEO to me. Something about business. They could have had a business together. Artist. We have anger management coach, attorney, judge, paralegal, and law. I feel like over here with the CEO, CFO, I feel like they there was like some kind of breach of contract, or they were in some kind of legal struggle, which is why this guy's probably a suspect in her going missing. I kind of feel like the insta-famous girl is an artist, but so is this ghoster. But then we have construction, interior design, house flipping, and property, doctor, dentist. So I feel like there was some kind of accident on a property. Maybe even an OD. They could have faked, like, OD'd her death, like Brittany Murphy type of thing. That, God bless her soul, I don't mean to bring her up in a bad way, but she could have been found dead in the shower, and everyone's like, what happened? We don't know. At this weird event. We have worrywart, nervous. Money okay, so these are characteristics or emotions the characters would be going through. I don't remember. I did these early last week. Money hungry, narcissistic, clean freak, rule freak, bossy, dominating, insufferable attitude, sociopath, serial killer, stalker, or rapist. That's the second time we got a stalker. I feel like maybe this person could be a stalker. Politically correct, overthinking, stuck in thoughts, over analytical. So yeah, I think the obvious killer is the CEO, CFO, but I don't feel like he is, though. I don't know who the serial killer is yet. But there's a lot of nervous energy, maybe about getting caught. I feel like this insta-famous girl, now that she's missing, like at first everyone's like, oh my god, I was so distraught, what are we gonna do? But as time goes on, like, stuff is leaking about this girl being like a bitch, narcissistic, and having a lot more enemies than people realize. They're not really the sweetheart. I'm kind of getting those vibes. And this plot thickens. Crying wolf, victim or victim mode, fake news, liar. Gruesome, bloody, violent, chaotic, hurting. So yeah, there's like a definite crime of passion here. I'm leaving it. I'm not going to give you that detail, because that's going to be a plot twist for me. The story just went way left. Weave, wig, or a toupee. Campground, RV, nature park, or hike trail. So are going to be locations important to the story. Office. Kitchen or restaurant. City. River. beach or lake. And then you have river. City. Kitchen, restaurant, office. Office is definitely over here with the CEO. There's going to be some kind of fight in the office. So I'm like thinking like a detective, like putting all these clues, details in the story, why these people are suspects. I feel like her body's going to be found in water. And there's going to be evidence of a very gruesome... I feel like our rocker guy is turning not to be such a rocker. Because I feel like he's a fake. He comes home and takes his wig off and he's like really a fat, balding guy who likes country music, but is out here pretending to be like angsty. Like, I don't know. He's got like an image that isn't right. I don't know why I'm getting that. The city, to me, I feel like that this event is in the city. I don't feel like she dies at this event. I feel like event is either something happens at this event or this is where the last known place of the victim. Then we have man, large, fat, heavy set, or tall. I don't mean to be a body shamer. I'm just helping you form the character. Like that goes right with this guy. I feel like, I don't know why I'm saying this, that like a man dressed in like a shaper, like trying to stuff it in, like, I don't know if they're like an older star trying to stay relevant, trying to compete with this younger artist, and maybe that's why they're a suspect, that this person, it could have been like a falling star, like losing their luster, having to fake it super hard just to keep up with the younger generation over here. Starting to feel a little bad for this ghoster. Man, tall, medium build. I feel like that's the CEO. 20 to 29, man, younger 20s. Still some maturing, college years. Definitely over here. That fuckboy guy. Woman, old, retired. Ooh, a new character on the table. Small, squinty eyes. Hairy man. I feel like that's this weird vampire guy over here. Celtic, white, or pale. Definitely this lady over here. Big animated eyes, this girl. She had those suck you in eyes. Classic star, beauty queen. Younger, we got an old woman stepping on the table with small squinty eyes. Let me back up. We have a doctor, dentist, hospice. I don't get it. Who's sick? Older woman. Maybe that's the victim. Maybe it's not this young girl who was found brutally murdered in the river, but this older woman who could actually be the manager or attorney, judge, maybe made a ruling one of these three don't like. What way is it going to go? I don't know. You're going to have to stay tuned. Up next is the actual story. Thank you for tuning in. I got my board ready. I'm going to take a minute and I'll get to it. Maybe not. It's still not pausing. Hi there. And for all of you that skipped the intro, this is the part where the story begins. But since I didn't do this in the beginning, there are a little bit of rules into this storytelling thing. So I can only use what's on the board to tell the story. I am completely making this up off the top of my head. There is no, like, the only thing I have on my paper is times for this video, which I fucked up, and I have to move it to that time. So I have not, like, I'll show you. These are all like previous readings. I have no preset shit anywhere, okay? This is all off the top of my head, legit. So if I like pause for a minute, I'm thinking. Also, I'm going to try to keep these in a condensed version, and I'm not sure how I'm going to do these, if I'm going to like act them out as characters or just do it like this. That part I haven't worked out. So for right now, I'm just going to say the story, not as like in character, just as me telling you my story. So no flair or dramatics. Anyway, let's get into it. Here we go. Hey everyone, I forgot to turn the light off and make it a little spooky. Oh god, a candle going. Just for the ambiance. And I amended, since this is my second time doing this, I did decide to do a little bit of pre-writing, a little bit. Just put all these clues together. The only thing I did ahead of time was pick their names and put all the clues together. So I guess I did create myself a cheat sheet, but it's only what's on here. And the only thing I added was names and their specific ages. Okay, so just because it's easier than like trying to do this the whole time. I'm trying to make this shorter next time. I'm not going to put the prep into it. I just wanted you to see it one more time how I do it if you want to. Anyway, let's get into it. Our story takes place in one of the greatest cities of all time, New York City. I think everybody in their life, or at least is a goal of anyone who grows up in America, to at least step foot there once. If you ask people what city they would like to visit, I feel like number 1, 2, or 3 is New York City. So Maura Matters is the main focus of our story. So what you need to know right now is New York City and Maura Matters, because the two go hand in hand. There is no New York City without Maura Matters. However, that's an interesting name, you would think. Somebody, Maura Matters. That's very catchy, very subliminal. What Maura says matters, and that's slowly what she projected into her life. At the point of our story, unfortunately for Maura, is not a happy ending, and it takes place much later in her life, at the ripe old age. Not that it's very old in today's world, but to Maura, to admit her true age was petrifying. Her true age was 68, but if you asked her, she wasn't a day over 40. For decades. Knowing full well reporters would do their work, it was what she was known for. How old is Maura Matters? Where is she from? This woman who seemed to pop up out of nowhere and take over Manhattan better than any man ever did. But, you know, as far as New York City goes, there's all different kinds of sharks, and it creates this fishbowl. So, our story takes place in one part of that fishbowl, and Maura Matters' world was celebrities. A-list actors, A-list TV stars, musicians. If you wanted to make it in any industry in those fields, you couldn't do it in New York City or pretty much anywhere in the United States without Maura Matters. I mean, you could make it, but Maura's word of mouth, whether that be her client or not, made or tarnished an artist. If Maura didn't like you, you didn't work again. If Maura loved you, client or not, she would invite you to her parties. She would sit near you so the tabloids would think you were friends. Anyone who was associated with Maura Matters was an it person. Immediately engulfed in this world. Maura Matters. I'm saying her name because this is vital to the story. Everything centered around Maura. So the fact that our story starts with her body floating face down in the Hudson River would be quite a splashy way to welcome a Sunday morning and a fall day. Just sitting there at your table with your wife, your kids, turn on the news. More matters found face down in the river. Who did it? What happened? Sorry if you see me pause it a million times. My nose keeps running. Allergy season. Back into it. So, this is the exact point of our story. The world, as Maura Matters is pronounced dead to the world in a horrific way. Now, everybody knew Maura Matters had enemies. Like I said, she made you or she broke you. And those people who got broke by her never got built up again. So this lady was equally liked, feared, respected, and hated. So, at this point, it could be anyone. And the rumor mill is going. And just like any good city story, the it crowd, and it affects everything. The whole world is eyes on the it crowd. From your maid in your hotel to your driver on your way to work, everybody is talking about Maura Matters. This is what I'm trying to get and hit home to you. The world stopped. Their golden goose, their golden egg, the perfect ballsy woman. Like every woman wants to be them, but also fears them. Every man wants to do them, but also fears them. And that equal, like you don't know if you like them or if you hate them, but you do know that any kind of business they touch or any person they invest in, it's instant money. And money talks in this world, especially in New York City. So, here we have, why is Maura Matters face down in a river? No other details are listed at all. Was she drunk and stumbled in the river? Did somebody hurt her? Is this a ploy? Is it really her? Is she going for a publicity scandal? Because she's known for that as well. Just disappearing for no reason. And popping back up when she's ready to. So you have that whole conspiracy group of, she's not really dead, this is another stunt. Or she's just, a party animal. She's going through a midlife crisis. She partied a little too hard and stumbled in the river. Then you have the other ones who are like, this is foul play. She was murdered. Someone wants her empire. What side of the fence are you on? Let's get further into the story. The police, however, are not so about what is happening because, one, they know they have Maura's body. They did the autopsy. And as far as they're concerned, this is a lot bigger than what the gossip mill is going on. Because what the police are hiding about it is the fact that Maura Matters was killed by a serial killer. So, there you have it. You have the city with crushed. Their golden girl is dead. And they've been rampaged by months and months of mysterious deaths by this stalker, psycho killer. And the police had just, right before Maura's death, captured and had in custody the serial killer. And they were on trial. It was pretty much a guilty verdict at this point. But then Maura Matters' body washed up and the police are like, we got the wrong guy. So, now you have the good old New York City police with that dilemma. Do we shake up the world who's been living in fear for months? Is the stalker going to get me? Is it going to get my kids? There's no rhyme or reason to the victims. There's no area. It's from all boroughs of the city, all islands, all age groups. People don't know what to do. They were inside by dark. Everybody had security systems and guns in their house. The serial killer didn't just take out one person, they killed entire families. If the neighbors woke up, they took the neighbors out too. So this is something in this world of New York City. New York City isn't that big, but for the people that live in it, people like Maura, it's their whole world. And it was being controlled by this killer no one could contain. And once everybody found out that he had been captured, oh, thank God, we can rest. Dewey disturbed the peace. Maura was an asshole. She has a million different enemies. It could be anyone trying to make it look like a serial killer. So, for now, the captain in this story is like, we're going to sit on the fact that Maura's body is sliced and diced in a horrific way, just like all the other bodies have been found around the city. We don't want the public to know that a serial killer is still on the loose. This isn't going to look good. It's an election year. We need to clean the streets. So, we have the police with their own agenda. Then, of course, you have, like I said, the gossip. You have that conspiracy theorist. She's not really dead. Why is Maura hiding? So people start digging into her golden gooses on that night, that fateful night, Saturday, the last night she was seen alive. Why everybody thinks she might have partied a little hard and fell into the river is because it was her New Year launch party of all her top clients, her top musicians, her top actors, her top comedians, her top athletes. Everybody she represented as a manager was on display that night. This is an annual event. People look forward to, you got the golden ticket if you were invited. Everybody wanted to be at this event. She was known for it. She went all out for it. And so they assumed at some point she had stumbled out of her party and fell into the river. However, like I said, you have that group that's like, something horrible is happening. They want her empire and they took her out. So people start digging into the golden gooses that were displayed at Maura's party. It's got to be one of her clients. There's so much going on. Maura's been in the press a lot lately, just like the serial killer. So you have Maura Matters competing for the front page with murders that are popping up all over the city. Her life is getting messy. The street and New York City are scary and messy, all around messy, messy, messy. However, with Maura's death, she wins, hands down. Front row for weeks upon weeks because all the gossip about these golden gooses just too juicy. And the police used this for those few weeks to investigate and really find out if they have a copycat. Like I said, they have their own agenda. So about 3 weeks passes since the murder. Like I said, things are coming about her golden goose. So let's talk about her party. And let's pretend you are the jury. I'm going to let you decide for now who you think the prime suspect of the choices in the newspaper. So, we have her top dog at the moment, the it girl on the radio. I guess you could call her the new pop princess. Everybody loved her. Everybody wanted to be her, dress like her, top music videos, sold out concert series, playing on the radio all day. Her name is Shelley Slater, and she's 25 years old. However, she is new to the game. She's only been in the business about 2 years, and she had this astronomical rise to the top. And she's known as this all-American good girl, as Maura projected her. However, when Maura died, her protection of our little it girl, famous, popular, everybody wants to be her, turns out is a diva from hell. I'm talking demanding, full-blown rage fest throwing stuff when she doesn't get her way. She's known for a temper. She's known to bully and belittle people. People are running off crying. She is no princess at all, and the public now is dealing with Maura. Oh my God, our star is dead, and now our golden girl is really not a good person? She's a bitch. So, of course, that's splashed all over the page. So, she's not just a suspect because she's a bitch and she has an anger problem and she's known to snap at Maura. However, Maura was known to be a bit controlling with the funds. She had a spending problem, and as much money she was drawing in, as much as Maura cared about their client. She cared more about her investment. And she was spreading herself too thin and devaluing the brand. So a way to punish Shelley was to cut off money. Maura had purpose in everything. So of course Shelley is pissed. Her wallet is getting pinched. Meanwhile, she's making Maura millions of dollars on her tours, So there's a motive to the questioning public. Was Shelley sick of being told what she could and couldn't do with her money? Was Maura pushing her too hard on this constant grind? Hadn't had a vacation in 2 weeks. Shelley coming out trying to save face. Maura was a tyrant. She made me. I was in emotional distress and I was unstable because of the abuse. She's trying to protect her brand. Of course, we all know the full tea. She really is a bitch. I mean, there's just no faking it. Maura just did a really good job of paying people off and covering her tracks. And without Maura to do that, the world saw the truth. So, what became sweet, oh my God, America's princess, became, when will that liar just shut up? Nobody believed him. They had enough of her, and her, in the mere 3-week span of her name being smeared, her tour gets canceled, but sent her over the edge. Now she's suing the papers for slander and taking her career. And every day they're continuing to print fights that Maura and Shelley had, or the secret jealousy between, if Maura lost 5 pounds, Shelley lost 10. There was always this competitive nature. So, of course, juicy for the tabloids. However, people weren't convinced. America's sweetheart went full psycho and killed Maura and threw her in the river. So they began looking at her other top dogs of that evening. Another big-time event, or frontliner, if you will, was one of the top rappers who was also in a lot of movies. So you have the top R&B rapper, musician, again, sold out concerts on TV, making appearances, but also performing in movies, has a little bit of a comedian side gig, kind of has their hand in a lot of pots. However, this person is known for it being a dick, and just like her other golden goose, she covered the tracks of how much of a chauvinistic, womanizing person we're going to call him Jamar Jones. Jamar Jones is the standard, started off sweet in Hollywood, wanted to be authentic as a rapper, wanted to rap about real shit, and he was really good for a long time. And just like a lot of people who get into the game, it became about, I need to be the gangster. And he developed this hardcore and I need to have the hoes and the big house and the cars. And his mentality changed and he became from a sweet person to very narcissistic. Not somebody who has baby mamas though, not out here, just wasn't going to settle down. Playboy for life. Won't commit, but will also tell a girl what they want to hear to get her pants off. Is not Prince Charming over here, okay? So there's a lot of sexual things going on that could, get him sued or make him look bad that are starting to come out because Maura isn't here to threaten and pay people off. So all these girls want their 2 seconds of a voice to say this is what happened to me, or they're after his money, whatever way you want to look at it. People are now starting to creep on Jamar, and his story is being leaked about how he would occasionally slap a girl he was seeing if he didn't like what she said, or how he was a little bit too rough, forceful. I wouldn't call him a rapist, but I think he was an intimidator and made people uncomfortable and crossed the line in a lot of occasions that Maura paid off. And again, like I said, without her there, now Jamar is Jamar is getting cancel cultured just like Shelley, for a very different reason, and he's facing all these court charges now. So not only is he a suspect in a crime in society, but now he's being exposed, and and he's going to have to face those crimes. But why would society question Jamar, who's seemingly doing very well, making a lot of money for Mora? They genuinely had I wouldn't say a friendship. They respected each other. They were both a power. They often disagreed. However, after Mora was found dead, a lot of her legal dealings were exposed, and Jamar had come to her a few times with some investments. She put her money in, he put his money in, and on more than a few occasions, he stole money from Mora. And Mora, like I said, her main focus is on making money, and she knows by keeping Jamar and his prime time and getting the use out of him is better than just kicking him to the curb. So it became more of an enslaved, you need to work off and in debt to me, you owe me type of relationship. So people are trying to say that he got sick of owing a debt to her. He wanted to move on with other managers. He had other deals worked out with other businesses that he didn't want Mora in anymore. So he was like trying to pull away from Mora, and of course Mora is very possessive of her property, which Jamar was very much her property. So he's a suspect for trying to free himself and all the stealing of the money and just having shady business. Which leads us to the last suspect and her last golden goose of that night. We have somebody who's been in the game for a while, like Mora, who is still loved by society, but more of like the older crowd. He's trying really hard. It's like he's having a midlife crisis. His gut's a little bit bigger, and he's doing things to hide his gut by wearing shapers, and he's balding, so he's wearing wigs, and he's very uncomfortable with the fact that he's getting older, leaning more towards 60. His shows aren't selling out, and Mora has no patience. It's not like he's a failure, but he's not a top earner anymore, and if she really wanted to invest time, he could do a tour of classic musicians. Like, people pay a lot of money to hear songs that they grew up with from musicians that inspired them. So she could have invested, but she didn't want somebody who in her eyes was old and dried up. She wanted young, fresh, hip hop. She wanted to make money, and he was like a dead weight to her. We're calling him Cade Cates, and he was the typical rock star of his time, rebellious, broke his guitar. Every lady wanted to do him. Every guy wanted to be him. Hit after hit after hit. He was a workhorse. He worked so hard that he went through a couple divorces and has no relationship with his children or anyone really, because his life became gigging all the time. So the fact that Mora is forced retiring him, but painting it to the public like this is his decision, he's ready to settle down. He doesn't know what to do with his life. He doesn't want to retire. And so they're saying he's a suspect because if he takes out Mora and someone steps in to take over the label, he has a better chance of not being forced retired and getting few years more of gigging, because he's not ready to give up. So the public is in shock with him because they really thought that he wanted to retire. They really bought the fact that he had this whole family life, that he was getting, like, people knew he had kids and stuff. His divorces were very private, but they were really surprised to realize his whole life was given to the label, and that Mora was dumping him because he wasn't making as much as the Young Bucks, and he was aging, and she was known to body shame him. And he's also a suspect because the night of the party, the day of the party, which would be in her office, he was heard saying, "I'll kill you for this, Mora. For what you're doing to me, I will kill you for this." And it was heard by several people in the office. So he's definitely suspect number one. However, most people think he doesn't really have the heart, and it was just something said out of in the moment because of everything coming to light. There's no like diva like attitude or really dark shadows or skeletons coming out about him other than his relationship with Maura and what he said. So they're like, I say that when I don't like people too. Like, some people are like, yeah, he did it, he said it. And some people are like, no, you're just trying to frame him. And they're kind of sold on the younger, snobby, asshole ones. So, here we are in the story. We have the police covering up the fact that, oh shit, we don't got the right serial killer, or maybe we do. I just said that in very broken English, so the ghetto came out. We don't know if we have got the right serial killer. So let's dip into their story. At this point, with all those deaths adding up, they have a lot of evidence about symbols that are etched in bodies and ways that bodies are found. There are differences in each one, but there's a signature trademark of this serial killer that was never printed in the paper. And Maura is found with this symbol. So the press and nobody other than the serial killer and the police would know about the symbol. This is something they purposely hid from the public so that they would know about it. And the reason why they thought that they had the serial killer in custody was because a man kept saying something about symbols. And in the paper, they did talk about symbolism, but it was about how the bodies were either posed or found and not about specific marks. So it was a situation of miscommunication or misinformation. And it was the only suspect that had willingly said anything about symbols. So the police jumped the gun. They were under pressure. They needed to find a killer. And once they had that man until Maura, nothing had went down. So the police are at this point like, okay, Maura's been gone 3 weeks. There hasn't been another death. I think we have a copycat situation. But how did they know about the symbol? They know that Maura is a powerful woman and she has police officers and ways of getting information. You're a powerful person in a powerful city. You're going to be able to do and get what you want. Maybe she found out about this symbol. Maybe someone that she shared this information with didn't. So now they're on the hunt for a copycat. So around the new peak of the story, we have the 3 main suspects every day. Stories coming out. They're pretty much holed up in their apartments or condos or wherever they are, trying to rebuild their reputation, protect themselves. They got police protection because, again, granted, they don't really know what is going on and they don't want to take any risks. As this is happening, as all the 3 suspects, they're slowly being brought in for questioning, but they can't really hold anyone without evidence. Nothing is really tying them, so they're really starting to focus on the night of the party. So here we are in the story. New day. We are headed to, as a police officer, we're headed to interview the people who catered the event. On the way to interviewing those people, boop, 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 we get a phone call, another body is found. And dun, 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 who do you think it is? Of all the people in the newspapers, most people thought that Jamar was the one that did it. He was known for being pushy with women, known for being violent, known for having money issues and difficulties with Maura. So, it's a complete state of shock that he is now found chained to his mansion Playboy bed, horrifically carved up with the same serial killer symbol, staged in the same way the first body was ever found. So it's like the serial killer is paying homage to itself by repeating different positions. Maura, who also was another body floating in the river, which was, I believe, body number 8. So I like the pattern. There is no rhyme or reason. As in, this person doesn't target ethnicities or like money levels or like professions or man or woman or child or adult or location, or there's no rhyme or reason on how they kill or why some are staged and some are just nothing makes sense, and this is why it's hard to catch them. And the only thing that's common in all of them is this symbol. This symbol, however, is all over the party, but nobody realizes this until Maura's dead. So the police are like, what the fuck is going on? The symbol that's carved into all these bodies is an ice sculpture. It's on the napkins, but it's not a blatant way. It's in the corner of a napkin, or a little, like you have a big giant dolphin as the ice sculpture, and on the end of the tail there's that little symbol, like a tattoo. It's like somebody had been at the party, leaving all these cookies for police to find, saying, I'm all over this party. I've been all around all the bodies you're finding. I was at this party. The serial killer was at this event. That is the one thing that the police are sure of. So this becomes the center of their investigation. At this time, they know they can't keep a lid on what's going on, because you had Maura found dead. Now you have Jamar found dead. And so the police have to, let the innocent man out of jail, because murders are continuing. His story really isn't adding up. They're re-looking through what his statement said. They're looking through the evidence. They realize they have the wrong man. They do genuinely want to let him out. If they could let him out without the public knowing, they probably would have, but this is New York City and there are no secrets. So other than the rich and famous, like Maura, who work very hard and pay lots of money to keep those secrets down. Anyway, they let the public know that, we unfortunately didn't catch the right man, and it seems now the serial killer is targeting celebrities, seemingly taking out top people in their fields, like Maura, who's the top manager, Jamar, who's the top R&B star. Who's next? Oh my God, Hollywood is going crazy. So now, just like before, New York City is in a new kind of panic. However, the people in the slums and the streets, low-key, are a little bit loving it. Because on all those scary nights when the wealthy people are safe in their house and they didn't know if their family was going to be safe, it created this bitterness between the rich and poor. The rich are protected. The police are monitoring their neighborhoods more and more. Poor people and middle-class people are dying than rich people. It became a war. So now you have this whole war of classes. So the fact that the celebrities are now being targeted only fuels the fire and boosts up, they're getting what they deserve, which is pissing off the rich people. They don't want to hear this when they're being targeted. They pay a lot of money for their businesses to be talked about on the news and their premieres to be on the news, not like, haha, you're all dying in the paper. We're celebrating in the streets. A lot of fucked up shit is going on in New York City during this time. Chaos again. What do we do now? We got the A-listers, the police are freaking out. We got celebrities calling us. We got people in positions of powers and lots of money shoving us in all different directions. It becomes a who can pay for the most protection. Good old America. Classic America. Who's going to pay me most to protect them more? The police are starting to cash in on it. And so the police work on the investigation gets a little bit slower, without being so loud about it. Because again, these people are powerful and they're not going to take cops who don't do shit. It is an election year. They will remove police where they want. So the police have to be very careful. They're kind of waiting, telling people whoppers, tell them what they want to hear, slowly collecting money for their stations as long as they can. So a couple of weeks go by again, and now this is odd because more time is happening in between the murders. When it first started happening, it was like 2 a week. 2 murdered households a week, which is a lot. Now it's like 1 every 3 weeks, 1 every couple months. People start to suspect that, okay, this serial killer has to be more careful with celebrities. It's harder to get in their homes. So they're like, all right, we're scared now because now it's going to come back to the poor neighborhoods because of realizing that the rich neighborhood is just a little bit too hard. So now you have the rich and poor fighting again. Like, they're going to come for you next. I don't know why you're talking shit. We're not going to help you. I hope they kill you all. It's like rambunctious in the street. People forgot that you all live in the same city, that you're neighbors, that you work in the same places. Like, all out chaos. So the police have riots, and they have a serial killer. Meanwhile, whoever the serial killer is sitting back, pretty, enjoying all of this chaos, like a puppet master. Who is the serial killer that seemingly seems to escape everybody's... Even the best profilers can't get a handle on what this serial killer is going to do next. They're not even sure if it's a man or a woman. There's no eyewitness testimony. Nobody ever sees anything. How are we going to figure this out? So, like I said, the police know that the serial killer is at this party. And there's only so many security cameras because this party was happening at her, Maura's, private home. In her private spaces, there isn't going to be cameras. However, there were a few additional cameras added for the event as she requests every time she does events like that. So there was a lot of angles. They did see everybody who came in and out the door. However, there was even more of a complication for the police because it was a masquerade party. So that means most people's faces were covered from here up. or here down. And because it's an exclusive event, they do have a guest list, but a lot of those guests have a +1 that don't have a name listed. Because they're elite clients, they don't know if they're bringing the wife or the mistress. So they rather just not say and just leave it as a +1 so they don't get anyone in trouble. So the police have all these factors. They have these symbols all around the party. How did they get here? How are we going to figure this out? So they start looking at everybody's costumes and they figure maybe if we go through each individual person that we see coming and going and we figure out where they bought their costumes, maybe we can trace to a credit card and we can find out everybody's names who's at the party. And of course, this is going to take time. So another 3-4 weeks goes by. Everybody thinks that the serial killer thing, it's over. Press moves like that, people forget about it until you wake up again eating your happy little Cheerios, and on the news today, Hollywood faces another tragedy. Who is it this time? Who do you think it is? Do you think it's the pop star princess or the has-been rock star? That's right. The has-been rock star. Shocker! Everybody thought who was the sweet one. Although he said he killed Maura, that nobody really was sold that he was the killer. He didn't have a stain on him, even though he had this career as a rocker. He wasn't known for cheating. His relationships failed because he was on the road. Like, there really wasn't much dirt to kick up because all this person did was work. So it was very sad. People were like, everybody, you said he was a killer. You focused on him, and because of it, he's dead. You didn't focus on the killer. It's gotta be Shelley. It's gotta be Shelley. So the whole world turns on Shelley now. Shelley's feeling the pressure. Insta-famous in the worst way. Known as the villain of all time, both by people and now the police are looking at her too. She was at the party. She, unlike most of the clients, paid cash for her costume. And her costume wasn't something that would be easily traced down. She got it out of a thrift store, something that hadn't been made in a few years, something that wasn't a designer well known. It's like you're a rich celebrity. You have all this money. You could have had a custom designed den for you, and you purposely went out of your way to find a costume that no one could really trace, as if Shelley knew that the police were going to look at the costumes, or at least this is what they're assuming at this time. So they're like, what the like, how is this America sweetheart the one killing all these people? Like, the police really want to pin it on her and be done with the whole thing, but at the same time, it's, like, ridiculous to them. Because a lot of these victims are very big dudes that would outpower her unless she drugged them, which no drugs ever really seem to be found in the systems of the victims. Unless maybe she found a way to get rid of that evidence. So the cops are, like, going, and the public's going, Shelley is public enemy number 1. So the cops dig into this investigation further. All right, now we got this questionable costume. Let's really look into Shelley. Why was her money really being pinched? So they looked into Maura's records. And in a big, huge, massive twist of events, not only was Shelley being controlled by Maura, and, Maura kind of being this mother figure trying to teach her a lesson. Come to find out, Maura was just following her natural maternal instinct. Because 25 years ago, Maura had a baby nobody knew about that she kept very quiet and very casually dropped off at a fire station's door, never told anyone who actually knew about the baby she paid off. They don't know how she could have hid a baby, being Maura Matters in the public eye. Maybe she just carried small. Maybe that was one of the times where she just miraculously disappeared. We don't know. We don't know when she had the baby. We don't know who the father was. We don't know why she didn't keep it. But for whatever reason, at 23 years old, she goes back for this kid. Maybe she realizes then that the kid has a talent and she's useful to her in some way. So now the maternal instinct is like, or maybe it was always about money. Or maybe, so the public is like, why? Why did she give up her baby? Who's the dad? Does Shelley know? Did she always know? And Shelley is, of course, claiming to the parents, I didn't know. I don't know who my parents were. I always thought I was adopted. I didn't know where I was coming from. And she's, oh my God, I lost my mother. Pity, 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 soaking it up. So, slowly, people, change. Half and half. Half still are out for her head, and half have that sympathy, like, okay, look at this person crying. She has empathy. She's not a killer. She has a heart. But the police are also on that boat of, it just doesn't make sense that she could have. They don't think she's smart enough. They don't think that she has the physical capability of doing any of that. So they kind of move on. And Shelley, although her name got tarnished a lot, is getting a lot of work out of this, getting a lot of attention, and she's eating it up, and she's continuing to make money. She's already got a new manager. It's like she's brushing the whole thing under the rug and moving on with her life, and the world's kind of letting her. So we have dead Jamar, and we have dead Kate, and we have dead Maura, and the police have no leads, and again, silence, no other killers. And this goes by 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, cold cases. The press don't really want to talk about it. It's slowly leaking out of the papers. The family are fighting over the celebrity's money. Nobody really cares that they were murdered or that there's seemingly this serial killer that just vanished. And, for most people, at this point, they're like, what? Oh yeah, I remember the serial killer like it was 20 years ago. That's how fast things move in New York City. And the world ticks on, and Shelley, stays that star. Growing popularity. She stops talking about Maura. Won't take any interview questions about Maura. Won't take any questions about Jamar, won't take any questions about Cade. And, for a long time, her career takes off. By long time, I mean decade, 10, 12 years go by. You get a hungry college kid who is in school for journalism, and they really want to find out who the serial killer was. They grew up hearing about it. They just, remember living in that fear. It never sat well with them that it wasn't, solved. And just like anybody who's nerdy, doesn't really have any friends, doesn't really care to have friends as a loner, they have a bunch of time to do research. And not only did this person do research, but they did a lot of legwork. We're going to call her Allegra. Allegra was a daughter of an immigrant who came to this country, single mom, worked for everything she had. She unfortunately lost her mother in high school from cancer. So this is somebody who's very independent from a very early age, very diligent. She can see people's bullshit. She grew up on the street. She's street smart and book smart. So she's like, I'm going to get this. And she's been working on this all 4 years of her college years. And she is uncovering things that the press never touched, people never really talked about. So, being a journalist, wanting to get her name out there in the public, she's graduating in a few weeks. She wants to land a good job, and she also needs a little bit of pocket money. And as long as you have the proof to back things up, you can really sell any story. So, we're going to visit Jamar again. Even though, unfortunately, Jamar was killed, there's more to the story about Jamar. Turns out, Maura found Jamar in a truck stop. He was a male prostitute who was pimping himself out. Drug addicted, came from nothing. Maura put him through rehab. Nobody really understands why all of a sudden Maura seemingly grew a heart about Jamar. Because one, she got rid of her baby. She had no connections. Any relationship she had, it was a no emotional connection. It was marriage of convenience. She liked sex. When she wanted you around, you were around. When she didn't want you around, you had your own house. Maura put up with you when she wanted to put up with you. So it was very mysterious to this young Allegra as why she would invest all this time on Jamar, putting him through, rehab, building him up into this star that he is. So they start going through Maura's journals. One thing about Maura is every night before bed, like our religious habit, she wrote in her journal. Not being an emotional person, it was more like descriptive of what they did, like a to-do list or the daily breakdown, if you will. But from it, they realized that around the time that Maura suspectedly had her mysterious daughter, Shelley, a woman was working with her, was a nurse, a traveling nurse, which would make sense for someone who needs to secretly deliver a baby. For some weird reason, in the timeline from this woman working with Maura for, I would say, a good 12 to 14 months, and then this woman just kind of vanishes off the earth as far as nothing is attached to her social security number. She never changes her name, and she's listed as a missing person by her family. So, and unfortunately, she had a son, which Jamar was a little bit older than Shelley, so I feel like the public would feel like Maura would have known that this person has a child, and that child ended up being Jamar. So you have her lifting up her kid, her secret mysterious baby, and now you have her coming back to build up this lady who probably she had a close bond with of some kind, because helped her have a kid. Did Maura do something to this woman to keep her secret? That is all surfacing. Was Maura's entire career just about redemption? So Maura is becoming more interesting to people, and it's less about the serial killers and more about this mysterious life of Maura. And so she's selling stories about Jamar and his mother and how she disappeared and it's been a missing person. But unknowingly to Allegra, the body of Jamar's mother had a very particular symbol found on her jewelry boxes. It was believed that she had it tattooed on her. It was something she distinctly was known to draw. It was her own. She was an artist in her spare time, and it was her own creation. It was like how she signed, like instead of saying so and so was here, she left the symbol wherever she went. So the police freak out. They're like, oh my God, we have to figure out what happened to this woman, because maybe she never went missing. Maybe something happened between the two of them, and Maura did something to her, and Maura thought she was dead, and she really wasn't. So they go down this whole rabbit hole of who is Jamar's mother and where did she go. So now the press and the police are back on this case. It's kicked back up. It's been decades. It's fresh again. People are like, oh yeah, I remember that. They're doing 60-minute specials about it. And not only did Allegra dig into Jamar, she also dug in to Cade. And just like Jamar and just like Shelley, there was a very interesting origin story on how she found Cade. Cade wasn't young, he was already seasoned. He had already been with other labels when she found Cade. The problem with Cade was he was never managed properly. He needed a little bit of grooming. He needed to be branded. Maura saw potential in him. She changed his whole look. She changed his whole sound, and she put him back. Maura made him in a way. Although he was a seasoned musician, he wasn't famous until Maura came into his life. And again, Allegra digs into this relationship. How did she find Cade? So the story that she was led down was Cade, just like Jamar and just like Shelley, was an orphan. Traced him back to a specific boys' home on Staten Island. Then she traced further to find out that Cade's father drove for Maura for about 2 years. But the problem was Cade's father took off when he was about 5. So Cade really had no relationship. There would have been no way for him to really know that Maura knew who he was or knew his dad. His dad, even when he was famous, didn't come back around, which Allegra found strange. Usually, people come for money or they try, like this person seemingly also disappeared off the face of the earth. Where is Cade's father, who worked for Maura? So now we got 2 missing persons that the police don't know whatever happened, and neither does Allegra. And we have 2 orphans, hers and the person who helped her have her baby, what they're suspecting anyway. And then you have Cade, who was an employee's kid. Like, what is this all about? What was Maura doing? And who is this woman who created this symbol, and who is Cade's father? So they dig into Cade's father, and of course, Shelley is also starting to talk more, like, as she reviews her conversations with Maura, she realizes that on a night that they had both had a little bit of wine, she had mentioned Jamar's mother and a fight that they had gotten into. So the police were trying to press her to remember, like, can you remember any details about the fight? And she said it was something about it wasn't like Maura could outright say she was questioning my mother's mothering skills, or I was jealous of the mother she was, because that would lead questions like, what, you're a mother? But it's like she made it sound like this woman was jealous of her, and it ended their relationship because they became bitter and vicious. Later, Allegra finds out that was actually the opposite, that they had dug in and found an old police record of assault from filed against Jamar's mother, or I'm sorry, filed against Maura because she hurt Jamar's mom, and then she went missing. So they're like, all right, well, you have this weird police report, and then she goes missing. Obviously, Maura did something to her. But this woman also has the symbol. Could she have used the fact that Maura thought she was dead to stage her own death? So they start looking into what she might look like now, and they put out missing persons, but there really is no hit. They don't know if she's alive or dead. They really don't even know her solid name. And the same with Cade's dad. Like, he had a very sordid history. Nobody really knows what the relationship was between the driver and her, but it does add up to the fact that possibly Cade's father could have been the father of her daughter, Shelley. So maybe Cade's dad decided to pick his family and not be with her. So all these stories are going around. Meanwhile, there's no murders, and as much as this is picking up traction, just like anything else, after a few weeks it dies down, and Allegra is getting frustrated. She's like, these people gotta be out there. So she uses what little bit of money she has, and she decides to go out to all the locations where Maura had found Shelley, where she had found Jamar, and where she had found Cade, and she was going to dig in from there. Well, there wasn't much to go on with Shelley, and there really wasn't much to follow up on about Jamar. Towever, when she went to visit Cade's mother, she wouldn't answer the door, and was very sketchy. Told her to go away, that she had been through enough. So, figured she was eccentric, wasn't necessarily acting guilty, but was very aggressive and very defensive. So Allegra decides to play it smart and say, okay, I'll leave you alone. And she decides to spend a few days tailing Cade's mom. And it's because of it that the biggest twist of all hits her right in the face. So there's Allegra sitting across the street in a very used car. She's lucky her car made it there. It's a hoopty. In a very nice neighborhood, trying not to stick out. And out of Cade's mother's house walks Cade and Jamar and Maura. Only they don't look like themselves, and their physical appearance are changed. Maura has a longer nose. She put on some weight. Cade has no long hair. He's completely bald. They added a beard. Looks completely different. Then, of course, you have Jamar, who's in full dreadlocks. Looks completely different. Like a complete, I'm from Jamaica, which was definitely wasn't his brand. He was more of low jeans, butt hanging out with his boxers, typical street style. So Allegra is like, what the fuck? Takes out her camera, starts flashing pictures all over the place. No one's gonna believe me that it's them. So she gets even smarter. She stays quiet, even though she wants to get out of the car and be like, I got you! You're all alive! This is a scandal! So she follows, they get in the car with their driver. It's all one car, SUV. Driving out, each of them had a little carry-on bag with them, so obviously they're going somewhere. She's determined to follow them. Follow them to a little boat. Not anything fancy, something clearly you can live on and sleep on. They are going somewhere where Allegra wasn't going to let them get anywhere. She also knew that the only way to catch them would to be get fingerprints and DNA. Because it looks alone, they look different. They could say it was photoshopped or that she was stretching. So she called an anonymous tip. Well, because she said that there was a body found in the water and not that, suspected people who are supposed to be dead are at the marina. So the police show up and they're not really sure what's going on, and Allegra comes out and she says, I'm the one that called, but there isn't a dead body here today, but there was. This is so-and-so, this is so-and-so, and this is so-and-so, and they're supposed to be dead. And, she was found floating up in the Hudson River. The cops pretty much laugh at her. Laugh hysterically. Like, you think this is Maura Matters. You think this is Cade Cates. You think this is Jamar Jones. And these people, they had done such a good job with their disguises that they thought Allegra was a loony fucking tune. And for a minute, Allegra questioned maybe the case was getting to her and she lost her mind. But when the cop left, and they're all standing at her, in front of her, and what she expected to get chewed out or killed or something horrific, she's bracing for impact. Instead, they ask her if she would like to stay for dinner. And, a journalist who just broke the biggest scandal of all time would not say no. Even if there was a possibility that you might die. The sneak peek of it, the story, that's how journalists are driven. So Allegra's like, play it cool? All right, sure. I'll eat dinner with you. So she gets on the ship, and she starts on the boat, starts apologizing even though she knows that she's right. She's like, I'm sorry. I've been working on this case. You look a lot like them. Maybe I am crazy. Ha ha ha. Very funny. Expecting them to be like, yeah, ha, good one. No. They didn't, for 1 second, deny any of it. They admitted, yep, I'm Maura Matters, I'm Jamar Jones, and I'm Cade Cates. And yes, we staged our deaths, and yes, you did catch us, but no one's going to believe you. Like, no matter what you do, you're just going to look crazy, because we're going to leave here, and no one's ever going to see us again. So, Allegra's like, what do I do? How can I use this? How can I get the story? Like, people need to know who the serial killer is. So she says, all right, no one's going to believe me, but I've been working on this case just for my own peace of mind. Can you please tell me what the hell happened? Who is the serial killer? Who is this woman that made the symbol? Yada, yada, yada. So, this is when the story turns a very dark and unexpected turn. See, Maura was viewed as this big powerhouse manager who had it all and she was on top. But everybody has a boss. Everybody has someone above them. Even Maura Matters. And that person above her did not enjoy her rise. Out of everyone in Maura's life that she married, her first husband was her true match. And the aspect of all he cared about was bottom line and money. And what he loved about Maura and why he married her is because he could live the life he wanted without being judged for it, because she was the same way. And slowly over time, despite their best, whatever, they actually did fall in love. Maura didn't like having emotions, and neither did her first husband, John. So, things got complicated. You have one powerhouse and another powerhouse, and then in the middle, oopsie daisy, Maura got pregnant. First husband is actually baby daddy of Shelley. Maura, didn't want to have the baby. John, surprising her, was like, we need to do this. This is our purpose. We can't, shy away from it. So Maura's like, all right, I will have this baby and we'll make it work. However, 6 months into the pregnancy, she finds out John's having an affair and that he has been having an affair all the way through. I don't know why Maura would be upset, considering she was also having an affair. But the fact that Jack had lied to her and talked her into having this kid was the breaking point. And so, in true Maura fashion, she isn't just going to be like, I want a divorce. She flattened John. She took all of his money, she ruined his reputation, and she got rid of the one golden egg child that he loved so much. She was jealous of Shelley. When Shelley was born, in those first few weeks that she did try to be a mom, he loved her more than Maura, and she couldn't handle it. So she got rid of the baby to hurt John. So, John lost everything. Watched this woman for years become New York City's powerhouse. Everything he wanted and wanted to earn from himself, she took from him. And he just snapped when he found out 2 years prior to planning this whole thing, Shelley, the daughter he wanted that she took from her, she had under her wing. She took Shelley from him, keeping Shelley in this inner bubble where John could never get in contact with her, like, I'm her father, or I'm your father, this is your mother. Like, he did try a few media outlets, but people laughed him off, like Maura never had a baby, and it was kind of brushed off and forgotten. Because John, a couple years after the rise, he became a drunk. It happens when your ex-wife destroys you and you have to watch them go up on a rise. All he does is drink. So the same year that Maura found Shelley and created her, got her all of the TV, so John would have seen his daughter on TV with his wife, that same year he had a heart attack. And his mother expressed to the community at his funeral that he died of a broken heart. And she believed the story of the child, and she kept going on about it, even though nobody ever really believed Maura had a baby. And again, when the story came out, they shushed her like, crazy old lady, be quiet. John's dead, so they can't get him on the source, so they just kind of brush it off as old news. However, John is a very skilled chemist, and he's also a lot smarter than anyone gives him credit for. John staged his death to rebuild himself. And quietly, as Maura was building herself up and rubbing it in his face, because she loved to do that every chance she got, he was this alter ego version of himself that was this person that nobody ever saw. It was this investor that had billions of dollars. Like, we need him to invest. Let's get him to invite us to it. Like, it was kind of like the Great Gatsby. Like, everybody knew of him, but nobody really had a close bond with him or knew much about him. He paid someone whenever there needed to be a face. He paid someone to be his face, even though he was the actual person. He was very careful, very cautious. He outsmarted her at her own game. Where does the symbol come in? Where does the serial killer part come in? Why would John take the symbol of a woman who seemingly also got screwed by Maura, who also got destroyed? They find out that Maura had her medical license taken, framed her for being an addict, and apparently she OD'd in some mysterious medical record that was filed under someone else's name. So they believe her to be dead. John knew that they would come looking for, he knew would put it all together, who Jamar was, who Shelley was, and who Cade was. And they would figure Maura out if Maura came up dead. But the best thing about Maura and John is just when you count one out, the other one flips the fucking script. So at the last second, when John had actually come in to kill Maura, she, being kind of the evil cunt she is, had one of John's mistresses dress up like her, who... The only reason why this woman had an affair with John is because she wanted to be Maura. So not only did she screw her husband back in the day, but she had been a fangirl all these years. And so Maura was like, I need to get this bitch. She fucked me over. She's been trying to copycat me all these years. So I will get her for copycatting me. She tells her very specifically, I want you to come to my party. I want you to wear a specific gown and a specific coat, and I'm going to send you it, and I want you to meet me by the Hudson River. Knowing John and how he would do things, she figured that, he would play to reenact the river scene for her. How she figured out he was a serial killer, how she figured out the symbol thing, nobody will ever know. Maura wouldn't divulge that information. The point is, John thought she was dead. John's game was finished. And as far as John was concerned, he was about to be the full alter ego and come out as this person. He doesn't have to hide anymore. Maura's dead. She wouldn't recognize his face. All the secrets went with her. Jamar's gone. Shelley doesn't know anything. Cade's gone. Thinks they're all dead. They're taking a boat around the city so that nobody can see them until his big reveal, grand opening, like, aha, I'm the new king, like Maura was the queen of New York City, his I'm the king party launch. They were going to go in for some revenge. Why they told Allegra this, when Allegra had the power and the upper hand to stop it, again, no one really knows. But Allegra did the one thing any real reporter would do. She printed the real story. She printed the one picture she was able to sneak, and she knew that the world wouldn't believe it, but she put it out there anyway. Because she knew that one day they would really kill John, and that maybe they would really be caught, and everybody would trace back to this article, and she would finally get the credit for all this hard work she's been putting into solving this case. So she had an ulterior motive in all of this. She's like, I'm just going to run it. No one's going to believe me, and that's exactly what happened. Everyone's like, this is bogus. Good fluff piece, though. Got shuffled aside. 20 years goes by. Allegra's kids are grown. College. She's got grandkids coming. Going to weddings. Old. She herself has even forgotten any hope and had no hope that anyone was like her plan she set out to do. She had no faith in anymore. Like no one's ever going to find out the truth. However, all of a sudden, a body was found with a symbol that traces all those years back to the serial killer, which kicks up this whole press thing. Like, oh my God, do we have a copycat from all these years ago? And her article is found. And it is Allegra that puts it all together, that exposes the truth that Maura and Jamar and Cade staged their deaths to kill John. And not long after John's death, they did end up picking up the three. Shelley did end up learning who her parents were and got the full tea about that. And all of the whole moral of the story is, everybody thought Shelley was the evil, rotten diva from hell, which she was. But look at the parents who created her and the mess they made of her life. At the end of it, Shelley got the success. She got all the money. and the last one standing to gain all the glory. That just goes to show you. Your first suspect, your first instinct on who done it, on who could have the darkest of souls isn't always right. It's not always blatant and in your face. Sometimes it's very, very misleading. Happy Halloween. Hope you liked it. Bye.